There's a nuclear power plant about 40 minutes from Minneapolis that most locals don't even think about. It's actually the main reason big tech is pouring billions into 3 suburbs, turning them into the Midwest's data capital. Today, I'm breaking down why Rosemount, Monticello, and Becker just won the tech lottery, what it means for real estate, and how you position yourself before the national headlines hit. First, Rosemount. Meta committed $800 million to build a massive data center there. They picked up 280 acres from the University of Minnesota back in 2023 for about $40 million, which is not pocket change. The building itself is 715,000 square feet, and they're aiming to open in 2026. This isn't just some random warehouse. Let that sink in. Here's what really caught my eye. Back in February of 2025, Meta bought more land directly across the street from the first building even before it opened. Who does that unless they're thinking really long term? Companies don't spend $800 million and then grab the lot next door just for fun. That tells you that they're planning serious expansion from day one. Now, let's slide over to Monticello because the numbers are even bigger. 2 separate projects are in the works, totaling over 4 million square feet, with investment estimates somewhere between $2.5 billion and $5 billion. The first is a 3 million square foot tech campus from Monticello Tech LLC. The second is a 1 million square foot technology park from Scannell Properties. Combined, we're talking more than 650 acres being converted for data center use. Then there's Becker. Microsoft bought about 300 acres near HUERKAMP power plant in early 2024 for roughly $18 million. They haven't filed formal plans yet. Now, here's the important part that ties all of this together. These aren't just regular data centers. Meta's Rosemount facility is purpose-built for AI workloads, meaning the power, the cooling, and the network setup are all designed around artificial intelligence processing, not just storing files in the cloud. That's a totally different level of demand, and it's driving every one of these investments. When you add it all up, this is the largest tech infrastructure bet we've ever seen in the Minneapolis area. And it's concentrated in the suburbs most locals barely think about. That's pretty wild. Now listen, if you're seriously thinking and looking at Rosemount, Monticello, or Becker because of this tech boom, I work with buyers positioning ahead of these kinds of shifts in the South and Northwest Metro every single week before it becomes mainstream. If you want to talk about specific neighborhoods and timing, our contact information is in the description down below. So let's break down exactly why these suburbs won the big tech lottery. It comes down to a few key advantages, and honestly, once you see them laid out, it makes total sense. So let's start with Rosemount. The site sits on land at HUERKAMP Park, which was already set up for big development. That area used to be a World War II gunpowder plant. The University of Minnesota and the city went through a full planning review years ago to prep for large-scale industrial use, so when Meta showed up, they weren't fighting zoning battles or stuck in environmental red tape. That groundwork had already been laid out. Xcel Energy already got pre-approval from the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission to power the Meta site. They're building new transmission lines and upgrading substations straight into HUERKAMP Park. And Meta is paying for all of that, not the ratepayers. That's a huge deal. Meta also committed to 100% renewable energy, and they are targeting LEED Gold certification. That tells you this isn't some temporary setup. Location is another piece of the puzzle. Rosemount is about 15 minutes from Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, which for a global company is huge. Executives, engineers, and vendors can fly in and out super easily. Now let's talk about Monticello, because this is where the power becomes a real story. If Rosemount's advantage is preparation, Monticello's advantage is energy. The Monticello nuclear generating plant produces around 670 megawatts of carbon-free baseload power. It just received a 20-year license extension from the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which means it's cleared to operate until 2050. So let that sink in. Data centers are power hungry. And I mean really power hungry. A large hyperscale facility can use 100 to 200 megawatts by itself. Some projects need 400 plus megawatts across a campus. Most suburbs would wait years for new transmission lines. Monticello already has it. So that is a huge advantage and head start for them. The city of Monticello even restructured its development plan to fit these campuses. Both projects sit in an area where land was already zoned for industrial use in the comprehensive plan. Just like Rosemount, this wasn't random. It was prepared. Now, beyond what each suburb brings individually, there are a few advantages that they share that really sealed the deal for big tech. First, a cold climate. AI workloads throw off insane heat, and cooling is very expensive. Industry data shows that colder climates can cut mechanical cooling costs by as much as half because companies can use outside air from free cooling most of the year. Minnesota winters, which we all complain about, actually become a massive savings compared to places like Arizona or Texas. Who would have thought, right? On top of the climate, these suburbs offer fresh water cooling, fiber infrastructure that's already built out, and a central US location for low network latency. The Twin Cities Metro also has 17 Fortune 500 headquarters, including United Health Group, Target, Best Buy, 3M, General Mills, and US Bank Club. That's a huge concentration of enterprise customers within about an hour's drive. When you stack all of that up, prepared land, reliable power, cold weather, water, fiber, and a built-in customer base, this is the exact checklist hyperscale operators look for. It's all concentrated in just a couple suburbs, and that's why the economic impact here goes way beyond from what you would normally see from a typical industrial project. What this means for the real estate here in the Twin Cities. Most people stare at the building. That's actually the wrong thing to watch. The real story is what follows. Suppliers move in, contractors open up local offices, cities fast-track roads, property tax revenue jumps and starts funding long-term improvements. Meta's Rosemount campus alone supports at least 1,000 construction jobs at the peak build-out. Monticello's two projects combined estimated over 1,000 more, spread across a 5 to 10 year timeline. That's thousands of workers showing up daily for close to a decade. That kind of presence changes the local economy. The infrastructure upgrades benefit everyone. Roads get expanded, power grids get strengthened. At the state level, Excel reports an 8,900 megawatt pipeline of data center load requests, and they're planning about $45 billion in capital investment over the next 5 years. A lot of that infrastructure would not have happened without these projects. Now let's talk about property taxes. We're talking about millions annually from each facility flowing into Rosemount, Monticello, and Dakota County. Here's the pattern that we've seen play out. When a company like Meta builds an $800 million facility, suppliers start scouting nearby space. Contractors open permanent offices. Tech service providers move in. We've watched this happen with Amazon fulfillment centers. Within a few years, you see related businesses clustering around that anchor tenant. It's predictable if you know what to look for. Smart buyers understand that timing creates opportunity. Positioning before national headlines shift perception, before construction visibility attracts investor competition, and before the pricing gap between a regular suburb and a recognized tech hub closes completely. Let's zoom in on Rosemount first. Meta is planning expansion before they've opened the first building. When a $1 trillion company locks up extra land before the doors are operational, they're thinking 10 years out, maybe longer. The University of Minnesota is also selling more UMore Park land in phases, targeting additional tech, research tenants. That's intentional and coordinated. UMore Park was always envisioned as a mixed community with housing, business, and research built out over decades. So here's the interesting part. The housing market hasn't fully priced this in yet. Typical single-family real estate homes in Rosemount are trading in the low to mid 400,000s right now. You generally look at high 300,000s up into the low 500,000s depending on the size, age, and finishes. It's priced like a solid South Metro growth suburb. Rosemount sits about 21 miles from downtown Minneapolis, roughly a 30-minute commute in light to moderate traffic. Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport and the Mall of America are about 20 to 30 minutes away by car. Here's what we expect to unfold. Suppliers scout nearby properties first, then contractors establish permanent offices. The related tech companies look at adjacent parcels. At the same time, new residential phases at UMore Park, like Amber Fields, are already adding homes. Over the next 10 to 20 years, that whole area starts to look more like a tech corridor than a traditional suburb here in the Twin Cities. Rosemount is the confirmed play and named tenant with a specific opening date. Strong fundamentals and a reasonable commute all helps that. That sets up Monticello's story perfectly. The Monticello mega bet. Imagine what $2.5 to $5 billion of tech investment does in a town of almost 16,000 people. That's the documented reality here over the next decade. The Fratalone project is planning about 3 million square feet of total investment between $2.5 and $5 billion. Microsoft, as a tenant, isn't officially confirming this yet, but they own 300 acres near Becker and have been actively scouting the region. Scannell Properties is developing the second project at 1.3 million square feet. Combined, you're looking at over 4 million square feet across more than 650 acres. Both projects are going through what's called an alternative urban area-wide review, which looks at wetlands, wildlife, traffic patterns, and energy infrastructure. The city is also updating its 2040 comprehensive plan to guide that land towards light industrial park use. That's structured growth. It's not speculation. So here's where pricing comes in. Typical Monticello homes values sit in the low 300,000s right now. Mini homes trade in the high 200,000s to the mid 300,000 range. That's easily $100,000 or more cheaper than Rosemount on average. The trade-off is the distance, about 40 to 15 minutes from downtown Minneapolis in normal traffic. The gap between where Monticello is priced today and what it could look like as a nuclear-powered data center hub creates real opportunity. So the big question is time. When does all of this actually start showing up in real estate prices? Well, let me walk you through it year by year. Meta becomes operational this year, 2026. Job postings go live for operations roles, construction equipment rolls into sites in Monticello, local media covers it, but it's still mostly a regional story. National real estate outlets are not paying attention yet. It's early. I project the national tech press starts picking it up around 2027. You'll see stories about the Midwest data center boom, journalists flying in, touring facilities, and writing features about Minnesota becoming an unexpected tech infrastructure hub. That's when it becomes a narrative, and real estate investors from both coasts start looking at suburbs they've never heard of. Around 2028, housing demand starts to fill it. Contractors and suppliers establish permanent offices. Rental demand usually spikes first, and then home sales follow. That pattern repeats itself over and over. Looking out to 2029 and beyond, operational data centers stabilize employment, service, maintenance, and supplier ecosystems get embedded into the local economy. These bedroom communities stop being that, and they stop being just growth areas and start being recognized as tech infrastructure hubs. That's a completely different market position. Right now, Rosemount and Monticello are priced like regular growth suburbs. In 18 to 24 months, they'll be likely priced like confirmed tech hubs with billion-dollar anchors and all the economic ripple effects that come with that. This is the best tech infrastructure investment in Minneapolis history, and it's happening in the suburbs most people are completely overlooking. If you're seriously considering Rosemount or Monticello and Becker before this tech boom becomes mainstream knowledge, shoot me an email at team@hhgus.com. I'm working with buyers every single week who are positioned ahead of these infrastructure shifts. The tech boom we just covered is only one reason Minneapolis is positioned to dominate over the next decade. There are 4 more factors you need to see. Check out the video I've linked here where I break down all 5 reasons, including affordability data. Go ahead and watch that, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video and at the next house.